Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Can you all hear me? Make sure everything's on. Whew. I'm operating on very little sleep today, and I will be tomorrow as well. So let me know if you're all in the chat. Drop a like to support the channel because we're streaming, even though like I say, I've got very little energy. But I wanted to get a stream out today before the Palmeiras game. Palmeiras. Let me know you're here. Let's say hello to a few people. What's up, Sintelex? No, that's not right. Sineltix, maybe. CKDH starting in midfield from Azir, possibly. We're going to talk about that as well. That's frozen. There we go. Nothing had frozen then. Thiago Silva versus Chelsea in the semis will be immense. It would be very interesting. What's up, Warrior? What's up, Kays? Keep those likes dropping. Let's try and get this straight to 20, 25 likes as soon as we can, because then we'll get more people coming in and we can have a really good chat about this game today. Pardon me. Big up, Warrior. Big up. Appreciate the support. I always see you commenting on stuff, so big up for the support, my guy. I think Lavia will be on the bench. I do too, based on what we've heard. I do. And they're very good. Yeah, Al Hilal were very good. I'm actually going to miss this game tonight, the Al Hilal game, because my sleep schedule. So I've been working for the Club World Cup. I've been having to stay up and watch all these games at 2 a.m. anyway. So my sleep schedule has been so out of the loop. However, this weekend, Saturday, I'm away. I'm away for a stag do. And I leave at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So my plan, and the reason I'm so tired today, is that I stayed up last night really late to set myself ready, because I'm now going to sleep this evening early and wake up at 1:45 for the Chelsea game, before then going back to sleep for 2 hours and then getting on a train and going on a stag do tomorrow. So the things you do for Chelsea, eh? The things you do for Chelsea. Would we play a Sugo instead of James versus Palmeiras? I think we're going to talk about it. I have a feeling, if I was to guess, I have a feeling Reece might start in midfield. But I've got quite a few different things that I want to sort of propose today and see what you guys are sort of thinking about, different ways of approaching this game. We'll sort of use a few pictures to speak about how Palmeiras might set up, the threats that they pose. Of course, we know Esteban already. Talk a little bit about Richard Rios in the middle of the park as well. And then we'll sort of go into a few different lineups we could see. Because, again, on screen now, I've got João Pedro playing. I don't think he'll start. I think it's very unlikely, obviously. The most, maybe we get a few minutes from him off the bench. It is crazy, isn't it, Azir? The things we do for Chelsea. How about we do the same structure as we did against Benfica, but this time with Asugo and Santos in that Caicedo and Lavia role? So what you want, Enzo, Asugo, Santos midfield 3, Palmer off the left. Because I've got a different way of doing this, Case, which I am going to mention today. Is there no audio? Don't tell me there's no audio. Can you not hear me? Oh, audio's fine. That scared me. I thought I'd just been talking to myself for 10 minutes. I was just... Okay, cool. I think Santos will play in a double pivot with Enzo, considering Maresca wants Santos to play in Enzo's position. That's one thing. Audio's fine. What did you mean by that tactic? Is it something your end, maybe? Scared me for a second, but big up to everyone in the chat letting me know. Assume no Neto as well. Yes, I don't think Neto's going to start today either. I do. Right. How should we start with this? Should we start off by going into their structure a little bit? Let's go into their structure a little bit first. Bang. So, how we've been seeing them sort of link up, and Azir's just put in the chat exactly what I'm going to touch on very shortly, with Jackson being back. So, they kind of set up in this almost 4-4-2 press, and then we'll try to, when they retreat, one winger will drop in. So that's why I think Esteban's been playing on this left side, because the right wing has been the one that's dropping in. So usually it depends on which side the fullback's more advanced. but they'll go into this sort of 5-3-2 with the 2 being Esteval being on the left side, staying higher as that rest defence. As you can see, he's actually even higher than Vitor Roque in this situation, ready to sort of pounce on that wide centre back in the press. But he's also then there to hit on the break. And you've got this 2-man break, this 2-man sort of outlet play between these two who can really hurt you, Vitor Roque and Esteval. So they're the 2 that, of course, Chelsea you've got to deal with. Now, you are going to have the overload. You're going to have the 3v2 pretty much all the time, as long as you keep that base. And then the midfield are going to have to track these runners and let whoever's getting forward, especially on this right-hand side again for that right winger. But that would be someone that Cucurella. So we're going to talk about why I think Cucurella should play in that sort of same role that we saw last game, to pin this right winger all the way back. And then all he has to do is track the same run as him. So it doesn't matter the space that he's leaving open as much as it maybe would on a different week. So we're going to talk about why Cucurella could be important on that left-hand side because of that. But this 3 base is going to have to deal with that outlet play of Esteval and Vitor Roque. So when we're picking our back 3, you've got to sort of think about, you want one player in that back line. You want these guys to be aggressive, but you obviously need somebody to be sweeping up at the back as well. So that's a big part of it, and we're going to speak about why and who. The other thing, of course, is the midfielders, to track those 3 midfielders. So again, we're going to speak about that. However, this is more when they drop off into their shape. And I do expect them to be somewhat passive, at least in the sort of opening minutes, just to see. But from goal kicks, they will press you. Now, this is sort of the hybrid press that we've seen. Now, the reason I've done it like this is because those wingers are dropping off narrow and compact, and they're ready to pounce on the fullbacks if it goes there, but they're trying to cut off those middle lanes. You can see the striker here curving that run to force play to one side. And once play is forced onto this side of the pitch, and in any scenario, then Palmeiras will trap on one side of the pitch. And that's when they will go aggressive. And that is when they will use that intensity and that energy to trap you on that side of the pitch. This one led to a really good chance for them. However, the one sort of key about this, and why Richard Rios, who is this one here, sort of pushed up all the way away from the other midfield player in the middle of the park. So you've got the 2 midfielders, really fast split. Richard Rios pressing all the way forward. He's the aggressive one. And if you can initiate that press, you can open a big gap here, keep the wingers out, like sort of stretched narrow. So again, it kind of contradicts itself, but stretched as in depth and then narrow in width. Then you've got a big gap to exploit between these lines. And that's something I think is going to be key, is trying to trigger Richard Rios higher up in that sort of first phase of play, which means that this midfielder has to be somewhat press proof, but also has to have the IQ of when to drop and how to drag this player away. So, how do I think we could set up? I've got it on screen now, and I did have João Pedro in there to begin with. Yeah, I know you can't see the cursor, which is why I'm trying to sort of describe it, but like just describe it of how it is. I don't know really how else to like show. I don't think it will show the cursor, so I don't really know how else to do it other than to just describe it. But yeah, I do try my best with that. So on here, how do I think we could set up with this game? Now, the lap, I've got him up front, but we're going to speak about why I think Jackson could be key in this. Of course, no Caicedo, no Lavia, which is a massive shame. Neto is another player that, again, with everything that happened yesterday, I really don't know if Neto is going to play. I would be surprised if he did. So, how do I think we might set up? Madueke comes in for Neto on the right. Enzo's going to start. And like I say, Reece could start in midfield, but let's start with this sort of other way, and then we'll go into what I think is maybe a little bit more realistic. Well, I think we could see Cucurella pinning that player nice and high, like we said, with this back 5. Madueke is doing the same over here. Then you're going to have Colwell's at left centre back because Cucurella is forward and Tosin is in here, which means you can have Colwell there, Tosin here, and then Reece can still play as this right centre back. Now Reece is then there to cover Esteval in this sense. And this gives you that sort of 1v1. You've got Reece who can be tight on him and he can give him that sort of man-to-man treatment. And I think Reece also has one thing that Esteval's sort of been coming out with in this tournament is that he is actually feeling the occasion. He's only young. when he was playing against Messi and into Miami. Like, he is feeling the occasion. He's feeling the nerves. He said he was shaky. James just gives off that sort of similar, that aura, for want of other words, that he's done it against Vinicius Jr. He's done it against these top class wingers where he can sort of instill a bit of fear into them 1v1. So I think Reece being in this position to cover with Esteval, if you look where Esteval is on the pitch here, and the centre back, sort of the wide right centre back there, I think that's very key to have that as Reece in this game. So that's a big part of my thinking with having Reece in here and Cucurella pinning up here. Now, what this then means is the left wing is going to come into this pocket. Now, of course, this could be Cole Palmer again, and it could mean that KDH plays in here. There's a lot of different configurations we could see in midfield because it all depends on whether Enzo Maresca trusts this as a 2. Does he want Asugo in there to offer a little bit more in terms of sort of combative nature? The reason I don't want Asugo in here today, and I love Asugo, I've been so big on him way before Chelsea were even linked to him, is because of this picture. Asugo, I love him in terms of off the ball. On the ball, I think he needs work. And I do worry that he could be caught in some of these scenarios where, say, an Andre or an Enzo have a little bit more IQ to drag Richard Rios away, which is what we spoke about earlier. So I do think that I would like this pivot to happen with Enzo a bit deeper, like this. So now it sort of leaves us, where can we put? And yeah, exactly. He doesn't trust either of them right now, is here, but it's going to be interesting to see what he does today. In the opposition defender with a back 5, Maresca has always used 6 attackers, though. Yeah, and we're going to speak about what I think might happen, okay? So, if João Pedro wasn't to start, which is likely, like I said, it could be Palmer, it could be Dewsbury Hall. What I would like to see is Nicholas Jackson. The reason for that is I think we could then sort of really manage this in a bit of an asymmetric way. Jackson would push up and sort of almost pin himself onto this centre-back here. That would be his job. He can drop in deep to sort of drag him away, but that would be his man. Delap would be cheating right a bit to almost try and double pin on this side, which is something Delap would usually do in the middle, but again, he's going to be cheating right a bit. So you sort of end up with that front 4, the 2 wingers pinning high and wide as well. Then what you have, and like you just said, the back 5, I think then you can almost push Reece, because this is Reece's man here, and Santos can shift over, and Enzo can actually take up that pocket from where Jackson is sort of pushing him away. So what you actually end up with is a bit more of a 2-3, with the 3 rest defence being here, Santos, Reece, and Enzo, which allows Palmer to have a little bit more of a free roll to sort of drift into this middle spot, get on the ball, but also to drag out here and have Enzo in this pocket as well. And you have a little bit of a, again, it leaves you light with the 4, but as people said, there's only 3 in attack. If we go back to the picture here, it's a lot easier as long as the midfielders are tracking their runners. So this is where I'm at, what I might like to see. Big up Thomas, big up in the chat. How good is Asugo? Asugo off the ball is so good. And I think on the ball, he's got a lot of potential, but he just needs to, it's going to take a year. I think he needs that coaching on the ball to really refine. Like, it's almost just knowing when to sort of press through the lines and like when to play the ball through the lines and when to sort of play a bit safer. I think sometimes that sort of lock in his head isn't quite always on. Yes, his suspension is over, by the way, Warrior. And yes, that did cross my mind against this sort of like opposition. Do you think Palmeiras is more of an open team at times, or we could hurt them? And this is another thing. So this is sort of on the ball and how we can squeeze them. If we go back and see, if we put this into how this team would line up, off the ball, or just like from the get-go, it would be more like this, right? So you got Palmer in the 10. Jackson's technically out wide. Because then what you could see from goal kicks to avoid this sort of press here is, and again, having these fullbacks nice and wide, as you can see, you got pretty much the 4 here, and then you got one of the pivots dragging them away. So what I think we could then see is something similar to what we saw against Flamengo, which, yes, it didn't work in terms of result, but, and yes, their primary centre-back is out. They're also missing another one of their centre-backs and I think it's their left-back. It's one of their full-backs. They've got 3 of their 4 starting backline out. What we could see on the ball is actually this again, where you've got the 2 centre-backs here. You got one of the pivot maybe dropping a bit deeper, like I say, to drag one away. You've also got Santos or the other, like again, or vice versa, creating that drift in the middle. Then you've got the fullbacks a little bit more advanced, but providing width. And then Jackson can come in here, and again, you can sort of pin those centre-backs, those wide centre-backs like this. And Palmer can drift from here. What it would mean is maybe Delap's a little bit more central than he was when he was playing with Neto, so that Madueke can maybe come inside and almost pin that back 3 with him and allow Palmer to sort of move between the lines. So we could see something similar to the Flamengo game, just without maybe the right winger coming fully inside off the pocket. Let's open up some questions before we get into what I think could maybe be more likely. And when I say maybe, I mean very likely to be more likely, because, as I said, I don't know what he thinks about this midfield, and I'm kind of thinking that James is likely to start in midfield if I was to guess. The reason Lavia isn't on the pitch, Deo, in this is because there was a bit of we don't know whether he's fully fit because of a bit of a muscle issue after last game. Maresca came out and said it, and he said he'd maybe try today, like to train and see how it goes in the day. But I would be surprised if Lavia starts based on what we've heard. Don't you think we'll encounter the same problems that we have with these other versatile players such as Vega, as they have been called Swiss Army knives, but they never specialise in a certain position? Also, do you not think we need natural left winger? We've got Gittins, haven't we, Thomas? Gittins has just been signed, so I think that's a good signing. And then I think Pedro gives you a bit of what Felix and Nkunku give you, but just a little bit more sort of to him. Go watch my João Pedro video if you haven't seen it already, because it goes through a lot of that. Yes, Lavia apparently injured again. Achampong will start as right centre back. RJ will be starting as CDM. Yes, that is something I have in mind, but I also, again, Achampong, you just don't know. Like, he likes Gusto, so you just don't know if Achampong is going to start. Yes, they are both suspended, Ayub. Let me just take this time, because we've got 50 in the building, to just call out for some likes on this stream, because we've got 23. Can we get that all the way up to 40 minimum? Because it's really helping to push this stream. As you can see, we're getting more and more people in the building, really helping out. You can also see now all the top fans. So we got Sintellex, he's the number 1 at the minute. You got Warrior, who's up there. A lot. I don't know how the XP system works on here. I don't know if you guys know, but that's quite cool to see in the chat and see who's typing the most. So good to see. Watched it, but I just feel like they never end up specialising. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you for sure. For a double pivot, do you prefer an Asugo Enzo pairing or Santos Enzo pairing? It depends for what game. For this game, because of the way I think they're going to press from goal kicks, I'd say Santos and Enzo for press resistance. But in certain games, it depends, because if you need that sort of bully in the middle of the park, Asugo is literally that. And I would bring Asugo on in this game. If we can get a lead, then I would then swap it and bring Asugo on and be a little bit more direct, so we don't get caught playing out from the back. I think Gusto and RJ starts as well. If you want me to turn this into what I think could happen, I think Gusto comes in, restarts in there with Enzo. Jackson doesn't start, or he starts up front. Madueke starts here, Palmer starts there, KDH starts there. I could see something like this happening, which would mean on ball, Palmer comes infield, Cucurella does that shuffles over, which means Gusto's technically playing as that right centre-back, which is why, like somebody said, this could well be a Chempong, and that would make a lot of sense. It's just whether Maresca chooses to do that or not. Genuinely don't know why we would sell Noni. He's our best winger. I like Noni a lot, but I've sort of had my sort of say with Noni. I like him. I don't think he should be sold, but it's one of those things where next season I was willing to sell him, so I'm not going to lose my mind if he gets sold. I do think he's close to exploding, so that is something that I will bear in mind, because I do think he's better, better than he's being led on. And I do think that we could end up, if we sell Noni to bring in Kudus, who is another player that I really, really like. I think he's brilliant. I think he will add a lot to the team. it is something that I think could cause issues in 1 or 2 years' time in terms of a log jam in those sort of wide right positions. Man, I wish Maresca gave Asuga and Santos more minutes in the group. Now they've been thrown in the biggest game. It would have been better if Santos had some more group minutes, because then it wouldn't be so sort of like big to drop him in, like you say. So yeah, for sure. Need to learn the system. Who's this talking about? Azir. Do you think James is better in midfield than Santos? No, I don't. Like long term, it depends though. Inverting from right back, I have no issue with it still, because I think it still serves a purpose. But starting in midfield, I don't. But especially in the middle of the park, in a big knockout game, I think a lot of these decisions, you got to think with a manager who spends time with these people every day. A lot of this will come down to trust. And he trusts Reece, and having both of your leaders in the middle of the park together, it could be a factor as to why he chooses to go down that route. Yes, they do need to learn the system. Is it? You meant Santos and Asuga, that's fair. Could João Pedro be that split striker? Absolutely. Absolutely, you could. And that's what I was hopefully that's something we see. Where I was saying earlier, if Jackson starts on the left, maybe that would be a situation where Jackson starts on the left and plays a split striker role with the lap. And then when Jackson comes off after, say, 60, then we get João Pedro for, I think 30 minutes is probably pushing it as well, to be fair. But even if he gets 20 minutes in that role, that would be nice to see. I do think Bashir, maybe not good enough for us right now, but I like Bashir Humphreys. I do. I think we sold him for too cheap. I don't think he would have been close to starting for us now, but I like him. So a quick refresh of the streams. We've got 60 odd people in here, so I think the likes are going up. We're on 28 likes. Can we get that to 50? We need 22 more likes to get to 50, and we've got 57 people in here. Really, really does help me more than you guys realize to just drop a like and leave it from there, because then it allows the stream to grow, and then it pushes the video out when it becomes an actual video at the end. And again, all of this stuff, it all amounts to doing better for me. And then the more that I get from it, the more I can sort of put back into the videos, the streams, and it all just massively helps me. So please, it's all free. Just drop a like. It means the world to me. Thank you very much. They do play a similar system, but it's still about, like I said, it's about trust, and it's also about your teammates. Just because you play in a certain system, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll learn the same thing. You can play in a similar base system, but there's different coaching details and different profiles that make a difference. So I get your point, but I think it's a little bit, there's extra nuance to it. Lavia's press resistance would have been really important. Yep, absolutely. He would have been literally, like I was saying, if there's one player you want here, it is Lavia to be being pressed and dragging Richard Rios away from the middle of the park. That's Lavia. That's who you want there in an ideal world. So yeah, you're right. What do you make of Pedro saying he's most like Lewandowski in his best position? Where have you seen that? I didn't see that, but I don't disagree that his best position could be as a striker, basically as a false nine. I would disagree about the Lewandowski type of thing, but even so, Lewandowski at Barcelona this year, he's been a bit more of a facilitator, even though he's scoring loads of goals. He is dropping into those pockets and letting Rafinha and Yamal sort of get in those spaces. I don't disagree. I think he would be very effective as a false nine. But obviously, just how things are at the minute, I think he's more likely to get a few more minutes off the left, becoming a second striker, or in the 10 becoming a second striker, than he is starting as the out-and-out striker, unless Jackson is sold. And then it maybe shifts a few minutes on. The wages weren't there, Thomas. I like Sancho. I think he offers something different. If he could have been a bench player for us next season, I'd have been fairly happy with that. But not for those wages. Still think we will comfortably win this game. I hope so, Azir, because I'm going through a lot to make sure I watch it tomorrow. Like I said, I'm gonna be on a stag do tomorrow with about 3 hours sleep. So if we've lost as well, if we lose, go out, I then have to get up in 3 hours after the game and get on a train and then stay awake for the next 16, 17, however many hours. I will be devastated. Whereas hopefully a win, it will just carry me through. Even if I'm tired, I'll just be happy. So Pedro said it's in his unveiling interview. I don't remember him saying he's best as a striker in that interview. Maybe I just forgot that bit. But yeah, Let me have a quick refresh. We've got 60 odd people. So the numbers are going up. So hopefully we're liking the video. 34. We've got 60 in here. Can we get that to 50, please? 3 hours sleep. He said, so he did say, my bad. Can you answer my last question on European team? Where's that? Oh, sorry. What European team are you most looking forward to in terms of setup or manager? I think we'll do very well. I've got a list. I'll give you a list. So what I do at the start of every season, again, part of what I do for work, is I make a team, like a list of teams that I'm watching heavily. So Sunderland next season with Labris, one that I'm watching heavily. Como, Fabregas, they were on my list last year, but they're back on it. Parma with Cuesta, the one who, so it was Arsenal's assistant, and he's gone and taken over Parma in Serie A, which I think is one of the best leagues to watch tactically, so he's on there. Bologna with Italiano, his second season in charge. Bayer Leverkusen with Erik ten Hag, just one to watch. It's purely like, that's a bit more of a spectacle. I'm not saying whether they do well or not. It's one that I'm just curious about. Stuttgart, as usual, Ernest, but again, they're losing some players again with Waltermada, so that's going to be tough. Marseille's always up there with De Zerbi, so second season. Strasbourg for obvious reasons. And then a few boring ones are Barcelona and Real Madrid, because I think both of them are really fun next season. If we're talking about La Liga and like the narratives to watch, you got Real Madrid with Xabi Alonso's first season, and I've really enjoyed sort of analysing them under Xabi Alonso so far. And then you've got Barcelona's second season under Hansi Flick and sort of how they evolve. So both are really interesting projects to watch next season. And then some really boring ones if you like, again, this is for work. So Lech Poznan, Union St. Gallo, and Flamengo. They're all on my sort of like under the radar ones to watch, because Sebastian Pognoli, Niels Friedrichsen, and Felipe Luis are all sort of coaches I'm watching. So there's that list for you, if you're interested in that. Just as a side point, because of that, where I do a lot of work for other teams, and like I sort of come to you guys with my Chelsea bits, but I do so much other work about other sides, and I'm trying to bring that into my YouTube content as well. I really would appreciate, if you haven't seen the Liverpool video yet, which is about sort of how their fullbacks and how it's going to evolve under Arne Slot next season, I would massively appreciate a like and some feedback on that video in the comments, because obviously my content, my Chelsea content does so much better than all my other content, which I am so appreciative for. And the Chelsea content will always be the driving force on this channel. But trying to add in and show worth and like provide value in a lot of other teams and covering other things is something I feel very strongly about, because like I say, I do it on a daily basis anyway, and I want to bring it to my YouTube. So I think there's a lot of information in there, even if you're not the fan of the team. I'll always provide sort of tactical insight within those videos. So I would really appreciate it if, like I say, you watch that video, give me some feedback, let me know what you learned from the video. You can always relate those videos to Chelsea as well, and how we're going to use our fullbacks next year. So, like I say, that's just a little plug, but I would really appreciate that, as I'm trying to sort of grow that side of the channel as well. No worries, Thomas, at all. Changing midfield does not work. I wouldn't say it doesn't work, but right back is, of course, his best position. I think Liverpool signs Ekitike now. Yeah, if they get Ekitike, I don't know whether they will. I don't know. Honestly, I think it's very raw. I don't think they'll move in that market for a while. I think they'll just try and deal with one situation at a time. Ekitike at Liverpool would be unbelievable, though. I don't think he will be. I think, again, he's a tactical tool that Maresca likes, even if he's out of form currently. Thoughts on Valentino Barco? Really like him. Physically would worry me slightly, but technically, and again, in terms of tactical versatility, top. Personally, I won't sign any player again. Keep Gusto and Achampong as backup. Yeah, I hear it. I don't know about not signing anyone, because I would still kind of like to bring in someone like Hato, but I hear what you mean. You said in the last video that swapping Madueke for Kudus means likely selling Neto next season, and you didn't like that. I don't get how selling Neto is a bad thing. So, like I said, a few different reasons for that. One, I like Neto's work rate off the ball and the intangibles. Two, the crossing is another one of them. But three, it's the difference in profile. I'm not sure if you listened to the part of that video where I spoke about, for me, the biggest thing with the attack isn't having numbers and having 2 left wingers, 2 right wingers, 2 10s. It's about having a variety of different profiles. Can we have pass first players, cross first players, and creative passers? That for me is Neto. What Madueke, Kudus, Gittins, those players are more direct carriers into the box. So for me, Neto is a more valuable player, and I think he's also more transferable to being a bench player than a Madueke, with how Madueke's ego kind of not seem like, I wouldn't even call it ego, I'd just call it self-belief, like wanting to be a full-on starter. I think Neto would be more comfortable in that squad role, personally. So that's why I think Neto, it would be more beneficial. Kudus gives what? Industry, yeah. It depends what you mean by that. Like, he brings a few of those traits, like in terms of his sort of dynamism and work rate. He's versatile. I just think that it's one of those things where you're just pigeonholing yourself to just get rid of every attacker year on year. Like, you get rid of Madueke next year, and you have to get rid of Neto. That's sort of where I'm at with it. Okay, you get me. Nice. Yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough one, Mr. Laz. Like I said with the Kudus thing, if Kudus comes to the club, I will 100% see. Yeah, it's not been as good. It improved under Poch for a bit, and then at the start of Maresca, it was up, and then I feel like it's tailed off again. And the training, there's been a few incidents as well, hasn't there? But yeah, Mr. Laz, there's like I say with Kudus, if he joins, I will definitely see the benefits of it, and I think he bring a lot to the team. Central carrying, like press resistance as an attacker is a big thing. Like his ability to actually keep hold of the ball and recycle, but just raw, like carrying strength and power. He's a very powerful player. So there's so much that he would bring us. Like I say, my sort of issue with the move has nothing to do with Kudus. It's actually all to do with the logjam that would come from it, and sort of how I think we'd deal with it. And if I had proof that we could deal with those a little bit better, then maybe I wouldn't mind. But I'm not sure I'm confident with how we deal with that. Neto has the benefit of the doubt since it's his first season. Compared to Madueke's third, but if you look at the player, Noni provides more in the final third. Yeah, I hear it. How do you mean with speed? Do you just mean like his ability to attack in transition? I'm assuming tactics. So triangle rotations on the right. You mean with Neto, Mr. Laz? Who do you mean for that? Oh, you're saying you don't get that with Neto or Madueke, but you do with Kudus, for example. Yeah, that's true. But you also get that with Esteval. And then, again, you've got to try and figure out. It's all about pathways. I just think if you bring in Kudus, I think the likes of Esteval and Quenda, both of them, would see a little bit of a harder task because there'd be a £60 million starter in front of them. Whereas with Neto and Madueke, they've already been at the club, and you can already sort of see a pathway. I just think it provides an extra sort of barrier, is my only thing. But I don't mind Kudus at all, and we will go into Kudus in depth if he even gets anywhere near close, because I like him as a player, and I think he offers a lot of what we need. We've got 38 likes now, guys. Can we get that to 50? We've got 59 people in the building, so we only need 12 more likes. That should be very, very easy to get up. Very, very easy. Ugh. Neto only fires in transitions. Whenever we play a deep block, he struggles to. I think his crossing will become quite important this year with the lap and with João Pedro arriving behind him. So let's see how that does. And it is, yes, Mr. Laz, I think Kudus is short-term thinking, yeah. But that worries me slightly, like I say, with how I think they'll deal with it. But it's true, yeah. Don't rate Madueke's decision making. His decision making is poor. And he's not the most aesthetically pleasing, if that's what you mean by technical. I don't think he's not technical. I think he is technical. I just don't think he's aesthetically pleasing with his technical ability. And the decision making does need to improve. Yeah, you're right. 41 likes, 9 more in the chat. Let's go. I'm gonna quickly check, see we haven't missed anything. We haven't missed any news, have we? Let me know, guys, if this is the team for tonight, what would your score prediction be? The team that's on screen right now. So we got Palmer playing off the left in this pocket, Madueke on the right instead of Neto, Reece in midfield. I'm assuming a lot of people won't really like that. If this was the team tonight, score prediction, go. I'm going to say 2-1. This isn't... I just think that he's more likely to come off the bench. I'm hoping he does start, though. Okay, I'm hoping he does start. Further signings would I make? Now I'd sign a defender. That would be where my sort of... And then see, like, you've still got ages till the end of the season. Let's see how pre-season goes, the little of it that we do get. Let's see how the rest of the Club World Cup goes. Let's see sort of where we're at with the likes of João Pedro and Gittins. But I would look at signing a defender and then maybe an opportunity attacker at the end of the market, depending if you move Jackson or if you move Madueke. Do you think Kudus is a massive upgrade on Madueke? Massive, no. Like, I do think he's a current... I think that he's a more complete player, and I think he brings more attributes that we don't have straight away in terms of, because you've got Gittins who now brings some similar qualities to Madueke as well. But a massive upgrade, no, I don't. What do you think? Where do I think Esteval will play in the Maresca's system? I think a mixture of off the right and in the 10 this season when Palmer's not there. But I think a lot of the time it will be sort of those triangular rotations on this right-hand side, having him pop up not only wide, but also inside as well. So I think it would just be a bit of a mixture between the two. 2-1 for Mr. Laz, 2-1 for Tactic Evolution. So I said 2-1 as well. So we've got a lot of 2-1s. Where would you play Santos if he was to start? It would be like this. Santos in midfield, Reece at right back, becoming the right centre back. That's what I'd like to see. That is what I would like to see. Do you think he'll play in DM or 8? Oh, you mean Santos? Yeah, I think today it would be DM. Long term, I think it's a mixture of both. But Maresca has said he sees him a little bit more like Enzo. So maybe at one point we see a midfield three with Caicedo at the base, but then you've got Enzo and Santos together as like the double eights, with Palmer playing one of the wide positions coming inside. Maybe that's a possibility to get all three in the team. But have both who can play box to box. His defending is decent. He's switched on. He can cover the ground laterally and vertically. He's nice defensively. He's not an issue at all. Dueling, very good. Thank you, Synaletics. That means a lot to me. Thank you. The support the last sort of week or two, we're approaching 5k subs, and the support's been huge. So, like, I think my aim was to get to 5k by the 1st of July, and we're now on 4.9k. So we've missed it, but the other day we was on 4.6. I think just at the end of July. So we've hit like 300 subs in the last week or so. It's been crazy. So the support, like I say, the likes and everything is smashing it in terms of how it's helping me. So thank you very much. Like I say, if you haven't seen any of the videos lately, we've been uploading daily to try and keep this grind and try and keep that moving, the momentum that we've got. So every single like and comment is massively appreciated, and it doesn't go unnoticed. It really doesn't. Ball recoveries, yeah, he's good at ball recoveries. That's what I mean. He's very sort of like switched on in that sense. Sar's development will slow down if we buy another centre-back. I think Sar would go out on loan personally. Thank you, Danilo. That means a lot to me. Thank you. What, out of interest, what did you find me through, Danilo? What was the first video you found? I always find that interesting. Your content is very thorough. Thank you. Thank you, Deo. That means a lot. Out of interest, for everybody who's in the chat, whilst we sort of bring this to an end, we'll probably go for another 5 to 10 minutes, answer a few questions. What, if you can remember, what was the first video you found of mine? Did you find me through a video? Did you find me through Twitter? Because that's another thing that like more people find me through. Whilst you're answering that question as well, 60 people in the building, we need 6 more likes. Which 6 of you are going to be legends to push us up to 50? Which 6 of you are going to be legends? If Madueke and Gusto do start on the right, I genuinely do worry a lot about attacks there. Yeah, with Esteval on that side. Don't hate it. Leo found me through Twitter. Yeah, that makes sense. I think more people would have found me through Twitter to begin with. New system versus Flamengo. Nice. Yeah, that video did do quite well, actually. That video did do well. Do you think we'll revert back to our system we used last year where we used touchline wingers? Yeah, I do. I think I still think we'll see, like, a lot of people are using it as like lots of different systems. A lot of the time, it's going to still be a 3-2-5. It's just how we find our way there. So it's not really a whole new system. It's just, sorry, I was just reading the chat there. It's just how we get to it. So having a fullback invert, having a fullback overlap, and vice versa. I think we'll see both next season. First video was the Flamengo one. So yeah, the Flamengo one did well to get a few new faces in. Love to hear it. Did a collab with another Chelsea content creator, can't remember his name, and you analysed our potential playing styles under new managers after Poch. Yeah, it could have been a few people. I feel like maybe Josh Aveste, Lawrence. They're the two that I sort of have collabed with most. Lawrence Viscoli. Frangie free Josh Aveste. Yeah, I need to reach out to Josh again. I need to see about doing some more stuff with him. I mean, he's not really been uploading on his channel lately, has he? I think it's just him and Joey doing some bits. Yeah, I need to speak to both of them. That could be like maybe to try and do a video with them. That'd be good. And analysing a game last season, so I started following and listening as a post-match drive ritual. Nice. I appreciate that, Deo. It's always cool to like sort of see where people found the channel, because like I say, it just helps me to sort of like knowing that the Flamengo video did so well to bring in new subs. Yeah, it was Josh. Cool. Thought so. Knowing that the Flamengo video did so well to bring in new subs, it sort of gives me an idea of what works well to sort of help the channel grow. So that's good. It's good to know. Wouldn't Asugo be a better fit to start today rather than Santos? I would suggest reversing the video, going back, rewinding. That's the word. Going back to watch the start of the video, because we did mention it here. But the main reason I don't want Asugo to start today is this sort of pressure, and I think the press resistance of Santos, for example, would be more beneficial, especially without Lavia. I do know Pythag, yeah, I do. He's decent. You think we're well covered in midfield, considering Lavia lacks fitness? Yeah, with Asugo and Andre Santos, and the fact that Reece can play there as an absolute like backup. Yeah, you mean for the whole season? I still think we're fine. I think midfield's the one area you don't really need to touch. Yeah, I do. We've got 2 more likes to get to hit 50. 1 more like to get 50. Who's going to be the 50th like? Who's going to be the legend? The 50th. We're going to end it in 5 minutes. I said that 5 minutes ago, but I want to get to that 50th like. I'll answer a few more questions, and then we'll sort of head off from here. Should be another video out on the channel later today as well. It's going to be about Mbermo. So, like I say, even the ones that don't sort of talk about Chelsea. Oh, I think that was Lawrence Viscoli. I have a feeling. But I like that. I like that. That's a unique one. I like that. Don't you think Enzo would be better dropping in to receive? Because I feel yeah, I do. I did sort of say that. I said like it could sort of shift like this, with Enzo dropping a bit deeper to sort of use that press resistance. I did. Sing as a song? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, like I was saying, we've got 53 likes, so let's go. Thank you everybody very much for the support. It is massively, massively appreciated. If you haven't watched the Liverpool video, I would really, really appreciate you go and watch that one after this, just to, again, help push it. Any feedback on those videos that aren't Chelsea related is really appreciated. We're going to have an Mbermo video out about how he's going to help Manchester United. Again, there'll be lots of insight into how that role is important. So even if you're not a United fan, there's still a lot of content for you to sort of consume that will help understand and help broaden your understanding. So any support on those videos is so appreciated because of that. I think we're going to end it there. We'll end it with this question. 3 players that excite you most for next season. Deo, is this Premier League or Chelsea? Or any? Let me know. Let me know the stipulations and I'll answer it to end the video of the stream. Let me know the stipulations. I'll answer it as the last question. Chelsea. 3 players that excite me most for Chelsea next season would be... I'm not going to say like Caicedo or Palmer, because I think that's obvious. I'm going to go Gittins. I don't just want to go all new signings though. Gittins, Santos, and Esteval. I want to say like Delap as well, but I just think it's such a known quantity what he's going to bring. Like I know that he's just going to be a fighter, and I just know what he's going to bring. So like I'm excited that he's here, but it's like I'm not expecting anything that I don't already expect from Delap. Whereas Esteval and Santos, I think could like shock a lot of people. A Chempong actually is another one. If he gets his minutes fast tracked, I think he's one that I'm really excited for because I just think he's so special. So that's 4 for you. We'll give you Josh in there as well. 5-0 Chelsea. Let's hope so. We're going to end it there. We're going to go in 50 minutes, about 45 minutes of actual stream time. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Really do appreciate it. Up the Chelsea. Let's hope we get a win today and that we're all happy tomorrow in that early hours. Like I say, tomorrow is going to be a long one for me. You shout Nonny. He's one that I think could explode, but let's see if he's even here. Like, I'm quite worried that he goes. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Drop a like on your way out, and I'll see you guys. Like I say, I'm away for the weekend, so the next stream/video after this will probably be Monday, and we'll be covering a lot. So next week, tune back in for daily content. See you guys on the flip.